What's up, Internet? It is another day in the town. If this ends really abruptly, it has been snowing super heavily out there, and there's like 2 feet of snow just precariously perched on every power line out there. So I'm genuinely concerned that the power's going to get cut. So I'm not sure this will be super long, just because of that. But we'll see what we can do. Now, I do recall that Gracie's supposed to be in town today, so let's figure out where that is before she leaves real quick. E3. The ether that is becoming exceedingly less and less relevant. Okay, so I know exactly where she is then. She'll be right here. Oh dear Lord, I'm gonna have to button mash and wreck my wrist. I get some water in me. Alright. Let's get ready to do this, I guess. You keep saying they're nice clothes, but then you keep calling them rags when I wear them in front of you. You're very inconsistent there, Gracie. Just like your gender in the different versions of this game. Inconsistent. Okay. Also, your rules to this are not very good. Okay, so stretch out my hands. Let's get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh. I don't know if I'm getting better at that or not, but, we got another set of Gracie clothes. Probably another one that we already have, but still. Lavender robe. I'd like a robe. I've never had a robe. But they're nice when you go to, a hotel and you get a robe. They're nice and soft. Not sure lavender's really my color. I don't even like the scent of lavender, but still. That doesn't even look much like a robe, but maybe that's because I'm staring too much at the hat bit. Either way, we got ourselves some new Gracie clothes. Hooray. They probably are lavender scented as well. Yeah, this doesn't really look like a robe if you think about it. I mean, I see a couple, straight lines of color and then, a weird smudgy bit near the bottom and near the top over here, but I don't see how that looks like a robe. Again, it could just be that I'm observing the hat part and not able to picture what that looks like as a shirt. Certainly, but either way, we've added another shirt to our list of Gracie clothes that aren't the Gracie shirt or the cool shirt. The 2 best shirts of all time. Alright. Let's go see what we can do the next town over. I believe Wendell is coming to town. I believe that's today too as well, so that's kind of cool. We'll have a walrus buddy to go talk to. Like we do. And that's always exciting, having a walrus buddy to talk to. See you, Porter. I'm sure I will see you when I get off the train. Even though we clearly leave you behind at the station. Funny how that works. But anyway, onwards we go to the next town over. But first, of course, we have to talk to the infernal cat. The gatekeeper between towns and worlds, Rover. He's very down to earth, but he's also very obnoxious. He's a smelly cat. What can I say? There's Rover. Yes, we've met before. We've met numerous times. Pretty much every day, Rover. I still don't know why you don't recognize me, but either way. Things are okay. You are babbling. You're babbling quite a lot, Rover. I don't appreciate it. Oh good, it's snowing. Well, on the bright side, that means gyroids. On the downside, that means it's snowing. And having shoveled today for about an hour because it was super, super deep, I don't want snow ever. Snow is the worst. Alright, let's go to the dump. Interesting. It's a different iteration of the song that plays because it's snowing. That's interesting. I mean, it's the same song, but it's like slightly different. Just because it's snowing. I kind of like that. It's kind of weird that no matter what hour it is, the rain music supersedes all music, but snow doesn't have a similar one. Also, we can't listen to the rain music again. How sad is that? That is really depressingly sad. Aww. The goat that lived in an outhouse left. How sad. The problem is that, once again, we are now down to very few animals. We didn't have many to begin with. And then we had one who lived in an outhouse, and now we don't have the one that lives in an outhouse. It's very sad. Okay, I would like to sell things, Nook. Stop messing with me. I'll take 1,000 bells. Alright. Now, is that a toilet, or is it a super toilet? I need to know this. For science. No, a toilet doesn't interest me, but if it were a super toilet, well, then I might have to buy it. Not really seen anything that's particularly me here today. But there's always tomorrow, plus we have to go buy some flowers, of course. Got a little more than a week left to, ultimately get enough tickets to try and take part in the lottery again. Talk to Velma. Well, there was actually a pretty big blizzard, Velma. I think that's a pretty good excuse, honestly. Okay, see ya. See ya, Velma, the person who wanted me to talk to them so bad they yelled at me even though there was a blizzard. And yet won't give me something to do when I ask. Get rid of that haunted doll if nothing else, Peaches. Seriously. Your room is very sinister, but that haunted doll isn't helping. I don't think Billy joined this town, which makes sense. Or he did. Huh. But... Huh. Did someone leave then? Because really there should not be room for him to have joined this town. Barbara's here. No, everyone's here, which means I guess he's gonna make someone move out. This is really weird. But he didn't move before either, so it feels like there should be room made before he leaves. I would think. I do appreciate the jingle bells and the music because it's snowy. It's very nice. Very relaxing. Very jingle belly. Goldie! I need to talk to you about stuff I can do that don't involve bringing you a ball because obviously I can't do that. Maybe Chow needs something. It's gonna be one of those days where no one needs anything and I'm not gonna be able to do anything. I mean, those days happen, I guess, but still. Oh, right, I think our pal Wendell's supposed to be in town. Ah, maybe it's tomorrow then. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's okay, I guess. If you're all about waiting for Wendell. Ah, awesome. Okay, well, we've got a quest. We need to deliver a thing to Quetzal. I think we can do that. But, we're gonna take the long way and see if our pal Gulliver's around, because we haven't seen him in a while. And his bacon eyebrows and his free stuff. And I would like to take part in the free stuff bacon eyebrows-a-thon. But I can't do that if he's not around. I guess we should see if we can run to Coelacanth while we're here, too. Oop. Alright, we'll take this. I don't have any paper to put that in. That's probably a sea bass, so I won't bother. Oh, there's the ball. I don't like that it's here in an acre where there's usually at least 2 people. So we're just gonna kick that over here and hope it stays there for future reference. Seeing Gulliver. Nope, I guess he's just not gonna be here today. Can't be helped. Hey, there's Cookie. Well, you're seeing me now. And you don't have anything for me to do. Ah, Cookie, I'm disappointed. Quetzal? Not in. Everyone's just not where they should be today. It's weird. I don't think that is a char, so I'm not gonna bother. Although I'm not sure where Quetzal is right now. That is problematic, to say the least. He's supposed to be wandering around looking for Quetzal. There's Spike. Maybe he needs something while we're here. Nope. You've made it clear, Spike. You have not a thing for us like everyone else today. Everyone's just got all their stuff together today, it seems. Here's your Pokemon Pikachu, buddy. Uh-oh. But we just got an outfit, Quetzal. I don't need another one. A barber shirt? Okay, just making sure I didn't accidentally sell it or something. I thought I put it in my letters, but I thought I put it in like the 5th letter. But I only saw 4 were filled, so I had to check. Yeah, seriously, it's like everyone's already got everything done. Which seriously limits what we can do around here. And people aren't home, which is also very odd. I wasn't surprised I got a letter, Billy. I was a little annoyed because you're the only person in town who has toilets, though. Wow, just no one has stuff for us to do today, it seems. Which, I mean, just makes it a quite uneventful day, but still, I like to do stuff. But we get to listen to Jingly Bells a little bit more, I guess. And try and talk to monkeys. Oh, nothing for Caesar. Lord of the Apes. Very quickly running out of stuff to do because we've talked to pretty much everyone but Pierce. Maybe everyone's just off-put by our lavender-smelling robes. That must be it. They're so ashamed of how relaxing these robes are and how nice they smell. But they just don't want to give us the time of day because they're jealous. That has to be what it is. It's the only logical response. The only one. Alright, well, I guess we're stocking up on flowers and going home. Not much else we can do. Go look for Wisp, I guess. And otherwise, I think we've kind of done everything. There's nothing going on today, it seems. But seeing as we need to kind of keep this short just for power concerns, I guess that's okay. Still kind of annoying, though. Alright, well, let's get out of here. Go home. Or perhaps we will find our ghost buddy, who will actually give us purpose in this life. We can hope, because we kind of need it. Alright, Porter, summon us a train. We gotta go ghost hunting. For want of something to do today. Because the snow seems to have killed everyone's motivation for anything. Which is understandable. Seasonal affective disorder is a thing, but... oh, it's really annoying when it impedes my escapist reality. Onwards to home, where we can go work on our garden and maybe go find some ghosts. And perhaps a bacon-eyebrowed pelican. We still need to do that today, too. Hopefully. It has been a couple of weeks since we've seen Gulliver. He really should show up at some point. I would think, anyway. Please hurry, Rover. I get it's the whole thing a cat does, that they don't, you know, come when they're called, and when they're noticed, they start moving very, very slowly to not make it look like they want attention, but still, I'm kind of in a hurry to get home. And talking to you seems to be a prerequisite that forces me to go through it in order to get home. So if we could speed that up, that would just be great. Alright, let's hop off the train and go plant some flowers. Possibly find a note from the HRE telling us how bad our house is. Nope. I think we haven't visited the dump over here today. What we got here? A zipper shirt. I don't think it's lavender scented though, so... well, it does exactly what it says on the tin, I guess. But I don't think that looks terribly comfortable. I'm gonna wear that. I'm not a big fan of zippers. I've had my hair caught in zippers before. It's just uncomfortable. Get rid of that. Let's... oop. Well, this is a precarious situation. Our pal Glowy Spot is hiding in the flowers. But fortunately, we got to... once again, take part in his generosity. Alright, let's go down here and start planting some stuff. Seriously, no new villagers. By all accounts, Billy shouldn't have moved out. Hey, Sykes, how you doing? Plant plant this. And I plant this. I guess it's time to go ghost hunting. And we do that while looking for pelicans. Sounds like an idea. It's snowing here, so that means there will be gyroids in the near future as well. That's a plus. Oh, that's pretty cool. Stupid sea bass. So you even playing more Mario? Please don't be a sea bass. Please don't be a sea bass. Please don't be a sea bass. I just want something non-sea bass-y, please. Not gonna happen tonight, it seems. Nope, nothing here. Whoop. Let's get rid of this. Oh, the Chocobo Dungeon games. I've wanted to play those. That's a weird series, though, because that started life as a Dragon Quest game. And then it became its own thing briefly by becoming the Shirin games, and then it became the Pokemon games, and then it became a Final Fantasy thing. Kind of jumping sides of the RPG industry entirely. Dawn, that might be a goldfish. Might be actually worth something. It is a goldfish. It's worth its weight in fish. Oh, I don't know if you saw it, but I sent you a link to a bundle of game programming ebooks that might interest you. I just know it started life as Dragon Quest, then became a different thing, and then it kind of permutated. I can't quite remember the order, so you could quite very well be right that it was Chocobo before Pokemon. I just find it odd that it's basically been like every big RPG series at this point. And yet it's still not a wildly, like, well-known series, which is the most baffling thing of all. I haven't had a chance to play too many of them. I've just got the Wii version of Shirin, which I traded for last year. And it turned out to be one of the best games I played that year. That was a great game. I don't need that sea bass, thank you. No coelacanths. Unfortunate. Okay, well... Gracie shouldn't be around anymore, or does she leave at 6? I guess she's still here. Hey, Bashful. Yeah, I think I've seen 1 or 2 copies of the Chocobo Dungeon for the Wii. I've been trying to get a copy, but it's hard to find. I don't know why, but I always associate that with, like, what is it? Ivy the Kiwi. Like, for some reason, every time I saw it, it was right next to that on the shelves. And yet, you know, they were always just out of my price range. I'm really hoping we can find Wisp here tonight, because that'll at least give us something to do. It's been way too quiet today. Just no one's had anything for us to do. It was the horrible snowing out. I'm terrified that, like, the power's gonna get cut, but at the same time, I want something to do. Although that said, I still have to go put out a couple of videos on the other channel, too, so it's not like I don't have stuff to do tonight, but... That's an interesting, like, path to Animal Crossing. Going from Chocobo Dungeon to Rune Factory to Harvest Moon. You know, I really wish I've played more Rune Factory games than I have, but I've only played the first one. I remember that one being very, very shallow. I played the abysmal PS3 one, which that was probably like the most negative game I've ever had to review. And the very, very fun Wii one. And, of course, that's the hard one to find, but that's the great one. I didn't mind Stardew Valley, but I think it kind of like, at least the very early Rune Factory games, it came across as very, very shallow. Like, it had combat and it had farming, but it never really did anything with them significantly. Like, I don't get why combat exists in that game, because it just doesn't go anywhere. Just like I don't understand why, like, chopping trees and farming in the first Rune Factory made much sense, because there was only one thing you ever needed, like, wood for, and you could make every item in the game very early on for, like, the highest quality. There was a lot of issues with the first Rune Factory, for sure. I don't know, I think Final Fantasies can be fun. Not the more recent ones, obviously, but, you know, there's some great Final Fantasy games out there, for sure. But it's important to expand your horizons, and using various gateway games to transition between them is not a bad thing to do. I mean, I know someone who's totally into sports now because of a D&D themed sport game called Blood Bowl. And it's fascinating to see things that are kind of sort of only very loosely related, kind of getting people into other things. Oh, that's right, I gotta put my Pokemon Shield video up as well tonight. I gotta remember to do that. I got stuff to do. Hopefully the power doesn't cut out. That would be embarrassing. But, yeah, I just looked outside before I streamed this, and there's, like, 2 feet of snow, like, a line straight up balancing on every power cord out there. I'm pretty good at fishing. Yeah, 8... I got mixed feelings about 8. I mean, full disclosure, I'm the kind of guy who says 6 was the last good one. And I mean that. I think 8 was a great card game. That's the extent of my feelings about 8. And I appreciate how it did some interesting things with, like, the junction system, but that game was so broken out of the box. Like, the moment you could fight, what is it, Diablos, they warn you, don't do this now, he will completely smash you, but don't do it too late, because he gets stronger as you get stronger. I fought him immediately and completely destroyed him because I junctioned 99 tornadoes to my attack stat and killed him in one hit. I got memories of Final Fantasy VIII. I should probably play it again. I was awful at Triple Triad, but I remember thinking it was a really fun game. I do not, to this day, understand why people like Final Fantasy VII. That is a game that just, I cannot fathom why people enjoy it. But really, post-6, the only Final Fantasy game I really, really liked was the Game Boy Advance Tactics game, which is basically just Tactics Ogre. But still, that is, like, my favorite Final Fantasy game after 6. Yeah, I think 7 is kind of like one of the worst. Like, part of me wants to say it's the worst, but then I know 13 exists, and those don't even play like games. Those are movies that you have to press the A button a whole bunch through. Hold on, I will get rid of one of the many, many sea bass I carry, and we'll see about doing something. about your predicament, Spike. That was one of the things about 7 I never understood. It was a story about 3 characters, and only one was ever in your team for any period of time. One of them was dead the entire time, and so was the other, kind of, depending on how loosely you want to interpret his existence. Oh, Dirge of Cerberus. I owned that for the briefest period of time. That was like right up before my entire collection got stolen. I had bought it from my local Blockbuster for like the month they existed. And I played, I think, like the first level and gave up because it was just really bad knockoff Rising Zan Samurai Gunman. I played the N64 one as well, although mine's in Japanese, so I don't know what's going on in that game. I know Cookie, but she's asleep right now. I'll take it. I don't know, if you got a DS and you're looking for more Final Fantasy Tactics Advance games, yeah, aside from the actual DS Final Fantasy Tactics Advance games, you should look at the Luminous Arc games, because they're basically identical to the Tactics Advance games as well. And if you don't mind venturing more into the Fire Emblem territory, there was always Rondo of Swords, which is a game I've been trying to get for the longest time as well. That game was a lot of fun for the brief period I played it. But, yeah, Final Fantasy's kind of a weird series for me. I love 5 of the first 6 games. I cannot stand anything after that, really. You've got the one that I hate, the one that was a good card game, the one that featured a guy with a tail, and that's all I remember about it. 10, which is Sport Ball the game, no thank you. You have 11, which was the MMO that no one liked from what I remember. You have 12, which, again, like 10, all I remember is it was a game about air pirates, and then I just think of Skies of Arcadia, which was a way better game. And then you have the really, really, really bad movies that were 13, and then 15, which is the closest thing to competent the series has been since 6, but even then, I think that's being way too complimentary to the series. I don't know. It's not a series I think that should keep going. I think it's a series that needs to die, and it needs to die a very quick and painful death because I think it deserves it at this point. Yeah, I still gotta find a copy of Let Us Cling Together, but that is a hard to find game. Like, even the PS1 version, which seems to be the easiest to get a hold of. You know, that one I just cannot find to save my life, and my PSP is not in a good shape anyway, so. Huh. Interesting. It's kind of interesting to see what different, like, revisions and versions of a game can do. And, like, how people decide to change them between them. Come on, coelacanth. I don't think that's a coelacanth. I'm probably gonna end up filling my freaking basement with fish. Not ideal. And yet, it will probably happen because I still want to feel like I've done something today. Yet, no one had quests for us. That was mean, and that was probably a coelacanth. See, that's the tough thing. Like, you know, breaking a game wide open, that's fun, but you have to do it in a sensible way. Like, Final Fantasy V had the Blue Mages, which, when you first looked at them, looked like the most useless class ever, but then you realized, holy crap, these guys completely break the game over their knee. I can defeat the first, like, half the game's bosses in one move, if I just understand how the numbers work. Same with Final Fantasy VI. I mean, add Moglu Loose Charm to Rafflesia, rage, and boom, you've beaten every single enemy in the game. And you don't have to fight in any actual fights. But then you got, like, Final Fantasy VIII, which is broken in a completely bad way that's just, you know, just add as much to anyone's stat with your junctions, and boom, you've beaten the game. And it's... I like when games are broken, but you have to actually think about it. Like, you have to have a deeper understanding of how the mechanics work to really break the game. I like that. I don't like when it's a little bit too obvious. Oh, come on, fish. I'm trying to catch you, and you're probably not even a fish I want. Let's try that again. What is with fish not wanting to be caught today? It's like they realize I'm going to turn them into fish sticks. Sell them to the raccoon mafia. That is kind of insanely broken out of the gate. Like, if you're gonna build a character that could do something like that, like just have access to pretty much everything at the start with minimal effort, you'd probably want to, like, handicap it. Like, okay, we'll give you a character that can learn every ability at the start, and whatever, but you get, like, no equipment, or like, you don't get to level. You're stuck at level 1, you have access to all the greatest stuff, but you're going to be glass cannoning really, really hard, where if anything hits you, you're basically dead after the first few levels. There are ways you could balance, like, an overpowered class like that I think would make it interesting, but being able to just give your character pretty much everything with very little effort at the start, that's just easy mode right there. I prefer when there's, like, some kind of weird challenge associated, stuff like that. Or make that, like, an unlockable or something for people who've beaten the game and, you know, unlocked it. Going back to Final Fantasy, not dissimilarly to, say, the Excalibur 2. I think that came unlocked if you managed to beat the game and got it the first time. It's been a while since I played Final Fantasy 10. Mainly because I don't think... 10. 9. That one. The one with the kid with the tail. I don't think about that one too often. Oh god, you can turn back time in battles. Oh. Yeah. I don't like that, necessarily. Now, granted, I'm the kind of person who saves scums in, like, Fire Emblem so I can beat the game with my entire cast so I don't lose anyone, but still. Do fights in that game really go for, like, 50 turns? That's kind of insane, actually. I really have got to play Tactics Ogre to see stuff like that. I know I've been trying to get a hold of, what is it, Yggdra Union, and I think there was another game that was sort of in that ilk around then that had a vaguely Norwegian, vaguely Norse name. But their PSP versions, the digital versions, have been completely removed, which kind of sucks. I hate that about digital gaming. It's like, you know, if you download it, you can still download it, it's great, but if you're just hearing about it for the first time or you didn't pull the trigger, well, without notice, it's now completely removed, and you're never going to get a chance to play it. And I don't like that too much. Now, that said, I know Yggdra Union, at the very least, had a Game Boy Advance release, but I hate knowing that, like, there's something I'm looking for that I just can't get now. Yeah, I think being able to, like, undo, like, a single turn or something like that, like, just on the off chance you accidentally confirmed or something, like, that's okay, I think. But being able to turn back an entire fight to the point where, you know, you weren't completely in the weeds, I think that's not good. I think there's a big difference between those two. Yeah, exactly. You know, if a dice roll doesn't work in a game, you know, you live with that stuff. That's how that game works. But there's I think always sort of a gray area with stuff like this. You know, there's value to having it allow you to reverse decisions and stuff, but at the same time, you know, I think there's value in not letting you do that. Like, recently I found a game in a bin called Alpha Protocol, and that's a game that I'm enjoying way more than I have any right to, because it's basically just a third-person shooter with, like, RPG, just, like, conversations. But what's interesting is, like, once you actually get into, like, the proper game, it splits into, like, 3 chapters, and you can handle them in any way you want, but what you say to one character in one chapter will affect another one, and you don't necessarily know how that's going to go. It actually worked out for me pretty well, because I ended up pissing off this one guy, and apparently someone in the same unit as him absolutely hates him, so making him angry actually helped me out quite a lot, but still, it's it's kind of weird when there's just, like, far-reaching implications and you just have no idea what's going on. There is seriously no coelacanths out here. I'm kind of annoyed about that. I have never tried tabletop gaming myself, and I think that's both by virtue of the fact that I have no friends, but also by virtue of the fact there's, like, no hobby shops around here to, like, go and do that, so. But at the same time, I'm interested in, like, painting Gundams and stuff, so I kind of want to try painting miniatures, just to see if I can. Mainly because I've got bad hands and it'd be good exercise for me. But I kind of have an interest in it. Yeah, I think you missed out on a couple days ago when I did Pokemon Shield for a little bit. And did a first impressions video. Of course, all this stuff is going to be archived on my YouTube channel. So, I mean, if you're really that interested, you can go back if it's not archived here. Because I know the archiving system on Twitch is not great. It's finicky. I've managed to archive a couple of my streams, but at the same time, like, half the ones I try and archive, they just don't go up for some reason. But I think you also ended up missing out on the second half of the 401 multi-cart for gathering more footage for reviews. I gotta get back into doing my Pokemon Let's Play. I think I finally got my RF back up and running, so I should be able to do that this week, hopefully. I just hope I can manage to save my save data, because I know I had to recover it. I gotta check on it, but I'm a little scared too. But I did a almost like 2-hour Pokemon Shield stream the other day. And I went and finished the game last night, because it's a really, really short game. And I don't know how to feel about it, honestly. There's parts of it I like, parts of it I really don't like. But I've never been, like, wholly enthusiastic about Pokemon since, like, Ruby, because Generation 4 was just that bad. I also put out a top 10 list of the best Pokemon of all time to celebrate Pokemon Sword and Shield coming out. Just because I thought that would be fun. So I've done some stuff since the last time you caught one of my streams. But again, you can check all that stuff out on my YouTube channel when you get the time. If you really want something in the background. Okay. That is not something to brag about, because first of all, that is not really all that interesting, but also, it's not hard to get a level 100 Pokemon that early. See, one thing I found about it is the game's, like, new systems about fighting giant monsters. When you take part in those, you get something called experience candy, which basically completely obsoletes rare candy because it's common, you can get it all the time, and you can power level any monster pretty much instantly. I just got a new monster post-game, and I took it from level 1 to level 100 just with a lot of the candy in my pockets, and I realized, you know, I have rare candies and I've never used them. I looked in my pockets, I had like 30 rare candies just unused, just because I had so many experience candies that were giving me like a level and a half each. Yeah. Well, if you're interested, Bashful, I've got full playthroughs of the first 2 generations, as well as like the first third of the 3rd generation, which I'm still trying to stream, but my equipment kind of busted on me. I should be able to get back to that this week, though, I'm hoping. But yeah, I've also got full reviews on that stuff as well. But the first generation, it's not as good as I like to think it is, and the 2nd generation, as much as I'd like to add everything, you have to beat the game to get all the stuff it unlocks, so it's not very good. Yeah, it really is just really cheap leveling, and it's bizarre that it obsoletes rare candies. Like, you know, rare candies were just that. They were rare. You found maybe, like, 10 in an entire playthrough, and that was 10 free levels you could use to catch any monster that you just got up to your party. It was great. Now, there's no real need to that because everything's got an automatic experience share that actually averages the experience out to lower levels anyway to catch them up. But also, now you can get free leveling candy that does more than just give you a single level pretty much instantaneously. I have played every gen myself, although I remember some of them a little bit more vividly than others. I try and forget Gen 4 as much as I possibly can because I dislike it so much. I don't really remember Black and White all that well. I never played Black and White 2, nor did I play Ultra Sun or Moon. I just played the regular ones. But I played those. I never really played the Coliseum games. Or the Stadium games. Well, that's not true. I have the original Pokemon Stadium no one knows about. But I don't have the 2 that people know about. And I never really played the Coliseum games. I really want to, though. But I've got, right now, red, blue, yellow. I've got an Italian Silver. I've got, which, that Italian Silver is a story in and of itself. I've got Crystal, which I did a Let's Play of that finished up almost a year ago. I got Ruby. I got Emerald. I got a knockoff Emerald. I've got Diamond. I've got, I think, White. I've got the one that has the Black Lightning Dragon. That's the one I've got. I've got Y. I've got, I have, what is that? I've got Sun. Thanks to someone very kindly donating a copy to the show, I have Pokemon Snap, which I did a full playthrough of on stream. And I have Let's Go Eevee and now Pokemon Shield. Although I wanted Sword, my brother kind of forced me to get Shield. I love that Stadium announcer. The problem is, in the original Pokemon Stadium, which I guess for lack of a better term, Pokemon Stadium 0, because we never got it, that really does need that announcer. But Pokemon Stadium 0 is such a bare-bones experience. Like, it has none of, like, the mini-games the other Stadium games have. I don't think it had the ability to connect to your Game Boy to actually, like, let you use your own monsters, which, granted, is not something I've ever done, because I never had that equipment, but I always felt like that was how you really should play Stadium, because using, like, the pre-made monsters was just awful. It never had any of the mini-games. And what was best is it cut about 60% of all the Pokemon in Gen 1. Like, they just decided, you're never going to use a Caterpie or Metapod when you could use a Butterfree. You're never going to use a Charmeleon or Charmander when you could use Charizard. All we're going to have is the Legendaries and the... In fact, I don't even think it had Legendaries, but the only ones you're going to get are the final evolutions for everything, which meant that it took a list of like 150 monsters and cut it down to like 30. It was weird to experience, to say the least. I really need to get the other two Pokemon Stadium games. But all I've got is that weird first one that never made it to North America. And made the entire numbering system of them kind of awkward to talk about. Because like Final Fantasy, they just decided, well, we never got the first one, so we're going to start number 2 off with the word Pokemon Stadium, and then go to number 3, and name that number 2. That's why I kind of appreciate Coliseum. They went and basically just renamed the entire series as a whole. That one's a sea bass, I'm sure of it. But let's see what we can do with this. Come on. Ah! I'm really off my fishing game tonight. I don't think I've ever even seen one of those transfer packs. But that said, I don't really have any of the N64 add-ons. I never got a Rumble pack. I tried for years to get a Rumble pack. In fact, a couple years ago, I came pretty close to getting like a combination Rumble pack and memory card, which is good because my memory card is full. And I have a N64 game that takes up literally an entire memory card. Oh no. See, that would be devastating to me if my battery died in Pokemon Yellow, because Pokemon Yellow and Red are the ones I caught all the monsters in. I had 151 monsters in all those games. I remember I had to go to, like, I think it was a Walmart at the time, and take part in a quiz to win my Mew. I also got a Pokemon poster, I remember that. And the guy who was doing the quiz happened to do it on top of a weirdly Pikachu-stylized Volkswagen Beetle inside a Walmart for some reason. It was one of the weirdest moments I'd ever taken part of, and it was the only contest I ever won. It's true, you could transfer stuff over to the N64, which is, you know, that's good. It's definitely a good thing you can do that. That's one thing I don't like about the newest Pokemon, aside from the fact they axed, like, half the Pokemon in general. But the fact that they created this system, the Pokemon Bank, that was supposed to be that you could carry your monsters over from generation to generation without problems, without hitches, and, you know, pass them on to your kids, like, 100 years from now. Like, they even showed that when they were advertising it, that, you know, your grandkids are going to see the Pokemon you played. Yeah, it's not compatible with new Pokemon. Now you got to get a new version of Pokemon Bank that isn't compatible with the old version. Hooray. You know, it's so shitty. And the funny thing is, you know, Pokemon Bank never actually really worked. Because every time a new Pokemon generation would come out, they would, it would be compatible with Pokemon Bank, but Pokemon Bank wouldn't be able to be accessed by it for an entire year. It's like, well, great, I can access this in a year when I have stopped playing this game for about a year. Terrific. You know, and I get the idea of maybe not wanting to give players level 100 monsters from the start as a balance thing, okay, but somewhere along the lines, it feels like you're betraying your own vision and what you're trying to do. And that's no good. Ah, there's a Snapper. Take this Snapper. I'm gonna put it right there. Plop that in the ocean. Hopefully find another one. I don't know if that's a Snapper, but it might be worth trying. Yeah, I don't think I ever bothered transferring anything from any of them just because, you know, when I finished those games, Pokemon Bank still wasn't compatible with any games. So they're all just sort of sitting there in their boxes across games. It's like, oh, I really want to get you guys, but at the same time, the people who made this stupid system aren't intelligent. But it comes across kind of as greedy to basically release the same concept twice and still make it not work. You know, I remember Satoshi Tajiri, the man who made Pokemon. The first game he ever made was a game called Quinty. I reviewed it. It's called Mendel Palace in English. Go watch that review. But I watched a fantastic little interview with him on a little show called Game Center CX, which you should really watch, especially you Sykes, because they did some awesome Mario Maker stuff. I'm gonna find some links to that stuff. I mean to send you. But he had created this game magazine called Game Freak, and what he'd do is he would ask for people to like mail in suggestions and like concepts for codes and stuff, and then he'd go out to arcades and try and find like all the codes and make sure stuff worked and whatever. And it was interesting. He went out and published his own fan magazine, and eventually he decided to make his own game. And the interesting thing was, he made it entirely in the Famicom Basic programming tool for the Famicom, and then he just basically handed it to Nintendo, said, "Hey, I made a game, you guys want it?" That's not how that works. That is, people go out, they ask for capital, then they make a thing. He just made a thing and handed it to people and said, "Hey, do you guys want to sell this and give me a cut of it?" You know, that was literally the antithesis of what modern Game Freak is doing. That was him very passionately just doing something because he loved it, and now they just exist to basically make a lot of money. And to be fair, I mean, Pokemon makes a lot of money. It's Japan's biggest export, which is a terrifying thought, but still, you know, I feel like Game Freak has kind of lost its way, and not just in the sense that it feels like their Pokemon designers have given up since Generation 4, because honestly, I very much feel that way with the exception of Silvally. As I've said in my top 10 Pokemon video, go watch that video, it's good. But, you know, it just feels like, you know, Game Freak started out as a passion project of someone who just wanted to share their love of video games to the world. Not dissimilarly to how I run my channel, but capital would be nice, just saying. But, you know, nowadays, it's just there to make money, and it's like the thing that makes Pokemon, and that's it. Food Pokemon. Okay, you know what? I kind of think that ice cream monster, I think that's kind of cute and fun. I don't like it, but I think it's cute and fun. I cannot stand that we live in a world where there is a garbage bag monster. That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Also, having played Pokemon Sword and Shield specifically, the blob of frosting monster is ridiculously overpowered. I ran through like 2 gyms straight just using her, and she only has 1 physical attack. Everything else is just like designed to like debuff. Yes, Vanillite, Vanillish, and Vanillux. I think they're kind of fun and goofy. I don't like them, but I think they're enjoyable. But you know, they're not for me. I think that the garbage bag monster is one of the stupidest designs I've ever seen. But yeah, seriously, you should go watch my top 10 video, please. It doesn't have enough views. Doesn't have any comments. I'm so embarrassed. You know, Sword and Shield was fun, but it was really, really short. It was bizarre that, spoilers, you can't get the monster on the cover until post-game, which is weird. It's weird that it's a game that, similarly to X and Y, has a monster that is a legendary you are forced to catch, and yet it's not the one on the cover. For whatever reason, you can make the thing on the cover run away. I just find it baffling that, similarly to, like, say, Gen 3, they made it so the monster on the cover is integral to the story, but unlike Gen 3, you don't ever actually see it in the story until the end. Like, it's just the most odd thing. Well, you know, I think you can make some clever food designs. Like, Pokemon Sword and Shield, of course, has that cake monster, which I actually do kind of like, but it has another food monster that I thought was kind of cool. It's a little, like, worm in an apple, and depending on which version you've got, you can give it an item that'll turn it into a different monster. But the version that I don't have, you can give it, like, a sour apple, and, like, apparently, like, it tries to eat its way through, and it's too tart, so it, like, just sort of explodes and breaks through the apple and grabs the crumbs and tries to fly with it because it somehow turns into a bird. I thought that was kind of a neat idea. And then if you give it a super sweet apple, it like just eats so many that it just becomes a giant apple pie for some reason. I'm not saying they don't have ideas that aren't horrible, but it really does feel like some of them are better than others, and the worst ones are usually the ones we see too much of. I mean, that new coughing is just awful. Oh, it's got a top hat and a mustache now. New monster, hooray. Actually, what I did really kind of like about it was Meowth is in it, but it's a new different Meowth that looks like a bearded mountain man, and it evolves into something completely different this time around. I think that's funny. But I don't know, I just feel so weird about the new generation of Pokemon. I find it weird that it feels like I've heard them say it's designed for fans since the beginning. It's like, no, it's not. It's designed for kids who don't have the patience to actually level up their monsters properly. It really doesn't feel like it's designed for, like, the people who actually started this adventure out. Got a cricket. Ah, it's not a bell cricket, though. I'll release it. So yeah, new generation of Pokemon. It's weird. I mean, I didn't pay any money up front for it, because I had one of those Wii voucher games, but I was thinking between that, Astral Chain, or Fire Emblem. And I went with that, and honestly, I'm not sure I made the right decision with that. I heard Astral Chain's pretty short, but it's pretty fun. And I heard the new Fire Emblem's pretty tremendous from what I hear, but I don't know. Well, you know, I think creating themed food enemies isn't necessarily a bad idea. The important thing is you put in thought into their designs. I mean, with the, like, Garbage Bag Monster, it feels like they thought, oh, okay, we're gonna make a character named Trubbish because it sounds like trouble and rubbish, and then, oh no, we have to make a monster that looks like garbage. Okay, well, I guess we did that just so we could have the joke. And it's like, yeah, it's not that funny. Maybe think about what you're doing before you actually put the thing out there. But I don't know, new Pokemon is just weird. I kind of like the Rainbow Muck. I thought that was a neat idea for the Sun and Moon. Hell of a lot better than what they did to Coughing, that's for sure. I don't know. But there's some good food-themed monsters and some bad ones, certainly, but you know, they've been doing food-themed monsters for quite a while now. Certainly. It's weird they're trying to, like, sneak Rotom into everything nowadays, though. Because now you've got a phone that's a Rotom, and a bike that's a Rotom, and oh yeah, we forgot Rotom's an actual Pokemon that you can fight with. Yeah, I would see that probably being why. Grimer and Muck eat garbage, so they eat the garbage monsters. It makes sense. Actually, I was reading, like, the Pokedex entries for one of the monsters, and it says, you know, it fights to the death with another monster, and whoever loses becomes the winner's food. It's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But I don't know. Maybe if I get some time in between editing and putting some videos up tonight, I'll try and get some more time in playing Pokemon Shield, because I finally got myself a Silvally, which is in that game, which makes me happy. So I want to try and train that guy up, but I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about the game, and I've completed it. It's just, I don't know. It's got good points, it's got bad points. I think the story's an absolute joke in that there's literally no story. The evil team of terrorists you have to fight are just a bunch of fans of one of the characters, and at no point are you ever really inconvenienced by them, aside from the fact they block off all the paths, making it a very linear experience. You know, they're just kind of there. Hell, they're friendly to you the entire time, which is the weird thing. And it's not until the end that they realize, oh shit, we actually need to put a plot in. Okay, this guy who seemed kind of innocuous, yeah, he's the villain now, because reasons. And, I mean, the moment I saw him, it's like, okay, well, we're maybe 25% through the game. We have yet to see anyone that's overtly kind of evil. He's got to be the villain, and he totally was. Oh yeah, what teams are you making for your project? Like seriously, the story is so incredibly shallow for a Pokemon game, and I know Pokemon games haven't had the most in-depth stories ever, but this generation is just kind of an embarrassment. Phoenix, Leviathan, and Yggdrasil, which would be, judging by their names, water, fire, and some kind of tree, leaf, wood type of thing, I would think. I actually swapped this knife jaw with that guy. Well, it's good to have a starting point with stuff like that. Start out easy, and, you know, it helps to build stuff around. I mean, Pokemon didn't start out with, like, 29 different elements that even today I cannot, for the life of me, keep track of. Like, seriously, what is Fairy good against other than Dragon? And, like, what is Dark good against? Because I swear they keep swapping whether or not Dark's good against Psychic and Ghost and Normal between every single game. I can never get them right. And I know that Steel is weak to basically everything for some weird reason. It's weird. Well, what's important is you figure out how the elements and stuff sort of interact with each other. You know, it was very early, or very easy early on to kind of figure out how Pokemon work because there weren't too many to go by. Although I will always defend Psychic being strong against Fighting as being backwards. I would think Fighting would be strong against Psychic because they've got frail bodies and they will be snapped in twigs if a punch ever gets landed on them. And I would think muscle heads that don't use their heads, they wouldn't be affected by psychic attacks. I think Game Freak got that one backwards. And Ghost is just kind of there. I don't know. In Gen 1, that was very much the case anyway. Three elements per gym. That would be an interesting way to go about doing things. I know that a lot of gyms stick to basically one element, and most trainers have like maybe one sort of wild card element on them just to try and keep things consistent. I think the important thing would be, if you're going to go through that concept and use mixed ideas like that, you'd probably want to then design them with the idea of focusing on the synergy between various elements on your individual teams. And that means you'd have to kind of focus your team building and indeed the elements and weaknesses and stuff around that very concept. Which could certainly lead to a very deep game. I'm not getting anything here. Alright, well I think we've been here for about an hour. I hadn't planned on being here for about an hour, but we did. We did it. Well, it's not necessarily bad to have more ideas and concepts and stuff, but again, the important thing is finding a way to create a challenge that creates synergy between those, as well as being able to focus on synergy between your team. If you can do that, then you should probably have a pretty fun system right there. But the important thing is to, at least initially, until you really get the ideas completely stamped down, keep it simple, or else it's going to get really convoluted really quickly. But it is 1 a.m. I think I'm going to call it because I have to go finish editing a review, plus go put out my Pokemon video at some point tonight. So I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, follow the stream to know when we go live, because we do this every single night, plus other stuff when I have time, like playing some more 401 because I needed footage for a review, and Pokemon because I had it on hand. You might also want to check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel to see over 1,000 videos waiting just for you. And seriously, go check out my Pokemon top 10 video, because I'm kind of proud of that, even though I had such restrictions when I made it. And, you know, see everything else I'm putting out, like the other 3 videos I got to put out today. And if you really want to make out my day, check out the show's PayPal or Patreon. Support the show any way you can so that I can continue to do what I do to the best of my ability, which in this case is catching a whole lot of sea bass and not doing much else. But, you know, some days are like that, I guess. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Peace out, Internet.